So it was a year ago that we broke down in Norway because the engine decided to grenade itself.
Oh my god.
At least we're in a rather nice location.
And it was a total nightmare. It took a really long time to get parts delivered to that rural location. But I did manage to get it working, fixing it in the campsite. And I limped it back home. And then when I did get back home, I did a full engine rebuild. That was like a new cylinder head, lapped valves, new valve stem seals, new injectors, brand new head gasket, new cylinder head bolts. I also took the pistons out, new rings, new big end bearings, a serious rebuild. Fingers crossed that engine is gonna be happy now. So we're going on holiday. We're going to northern Spain. Our route's going to be south towards Portsmouth, and we're getting the ferry from Portsmouth to Bilbao. And then from there, we're going to go around northern Spain. And the reason for this trip is to see the full solar eclipse, which is happening on 12th of August. The eclipse is actually going to happen when the sun's quite low on the horizon. So it's almost going to be like an eclipse at sunset. It should be pretty life-changing if we manage to get it right. So we're off, and first it's the rather boring drive down to Portsmouth. It could be done in one go, but we're stopping to ease the pain. This rather nice pub stop made an idyllic first night in the van this summer. Quick day trip to Blenheim Palace to try the labyrinth, then off to the port for our late evening ferry to Bilbao. We've got a lovely view of the two British carriers in port here as we sailed out. The Brittany ferry to Bilbao takes about 36 hours, so we're sleeping 2 nights aboard. It's pretty comfortable and there's loads to do, so it's not really an issue. However, it was lovely driving out onto dry land and being greeted by a beautifully warm and lovely Spanish morning. The first campsite we went to is in Islares. This is an amazing area with rocky inlets making loads of amazing shallow pools. It was nice but super touristy here in this part of Spain, so we pretty much immediately headed all the way out to the western coast of Spain near A Coruña, where we drove into some of the coldest and rainiest weather we were going to get in this whole holiday. A few days in this area plus a visit to Santiago de Compostela, and it's time to drive up into the mountains. So far not too much wrong with the van, it's running pretty happily. There's a leaky boost pipe coming off the turbo which is spraying oil everywhere, which is a bit of an issue. The gasket is all chewed up here, but I glued it back together with Hylamar, and fingers crossed that will last at least this summer. The aircon compressor has vibrated itself to pieces, probably from overuse. There should be a nut here, but it's sheared off the end of the bolt. To stop this massive M10 bolt from backing out, I've cable tied it into submission. Surely there's nothing stronger than a cable tie when it comes to fixing engines. So we're going to Somiedo National Park, which is high in the mountains here and gives us a bit of relief from the heat. Who says you can't practice cello in a van in Spain? And who says you can't make tasty food on a gas grill? No real barbecues are allowed at the moment because of wildfire risk. This area is absolutely stunning, but to get out of this region we actually needed to drive up a huge mountain, so that is our next challenge. Now the mountain turned out to be a lot steeper and more challenging than expected. Although the van is running a lot cooler generally, it was no match for this horrid mountainside motorway. There were literal signs warning of engine overheating, and my van did its best but only made it up about halfway. I've never seen the oil get as hot as 106 degrees C before. But after 15 minutes to cool in a lay-by behind a completely overheated truck, we motored up the rest of the hill without too much trouble. Half expecting it to never work again, it kept on trucking without a single complaint. I swear this engine, although slow and noisy, is the most dependable engine ever built, with the exception of what happened last summer. We had booked a campsite near Soria for watching the eclipse, which is close to the line of totality. And this part of Spain is also really hot and dry and usually has good weather with very few clouds. So this campsite was perfect. The campsite itself was stunning, and it would have been possible to see the eclipse from here, but we ventured off early morning of the 12th of August to find the best viewing spot we could. Our answer was Garay, a small town that's famous for its Celtic heritage, where it battled the advancing Romans and kept the town for many years, eventually deciding to burn it down and sacrifice everybody instead of surrendering. Today, it just made a brilliant viewing spot for the eclipse and a handy area to park the van in. I've brought some fancy camera kit in the hope to capture the eclipse in full 4K video. We're kitted out with phones and eclipse goggles as well, of course. It was such a stunning afternoon, and it was amazing to see hot air balloons and paragliders planning to watch the eclipse from the sky. The moment the moon took its first bite out of the sun, I think we all got a bit of a shiver.
You can see it.
It's somehow so unnerving seeing something so familiar and unchanging suddenly change. The moment of the eclipse itself was so special, I'm going to stop talking and just let you enjoy the footage.
That's so cool. Thank you.